So now we're going to talk about a short prose poem that's part of another long poem of Valentine to Sherwood Anderson called Let Us Describe. So let's leave the title for later. This seems to be a narrative, Stein, slightly more narrative than usual. Somebody want to say what the story is? Kristen, what's going on?
So it sounds like there's a group of cars that are going somewhere at night, and it's a bad weather outside, it's windy, and although the road is well maintained, it's not the best driving conditions, and so some of the cars don't go and some do, and then something bad happens at the end.
What's happened that night? Where are they leaving? Where are they coming from? You'll have to guess, I guess.
Could be they're all leaving a party.
Mm-hmm. Some kind of gathering, right? So there was a storm, and some people went, and those that didn't go, something happened to them. We don't know what that is. First, before we get to that, somebody say what the feeling about this story is. What does this story make you think? Molly, what do you think when you hear this story?
I mean, it's a little bit somber, although it's straightforward. And I think at the end there's a very sort of reverent tone to it, the let us bless it.
Right, and then that having been blessed, let us bless it. And we don't know what is being blessed if we read it just straight through. Why do you think Stein wrote something that is seemingly narratively coherent and then stops being so at the end? Do you think she has something in mind, Dave? Is she trying to tease us with some kind of coherence? What's going on?
I think it goes to what she was saying about narrative before. She's trying to break it down. Life doesn't always happen cause and effect. And I think
right.
this is trying to replicate that confusion, that way life happens.
So there's something ominous about although the road was in excellent condition and well graded, that's ominous. It almost sounds like back in my day when I was in high school, they used to run films of what happens when you don't drive well, or there was this, and the music was very ominous. What do you think is going to happen as you read about this very windy night? Anna, it's kind of an obvious question, but what the heck?
Well, many others did go, and there was a sacrifice. I mean, to me, that seems like, maybe there was some kind of like car wreck, accident.
Accident. Can we use the word accident? Dave was just saying that we see narrative, but life isn't lived that way because there are accidents. There are accidents. This is the perfect word.
It's kind of the breakdown of narrative if you run into one.
An accident is a breakdown of narrative. We were friends. We lived together. We loved together. We hung out together. We gathered at night together. And sometimes we gathered well into the morning, and some people stayed over because it was stormy. But some people went, and we said, be careful, and they went. And then there was an accident, and that was the end. Right? So let's look at the language she uses to describe the end. Some of those who had planned to go were unable to do so. Many others did go. And there was a sacrifice, comma, of what shall we, comma, a sheep, comma, a hen, comma, a cock, comma, a village, comma, a ruin, comma, and all that. And then, that having been blessed, let us bless it. Emily, what is she doing? Suddenly the language is not narrative and it is not denotative.
Well, sorry. It stops becoming denotative as soon as it starts to try to articulate a loss. And suddenly, and of a sacrifice of what shall we, well, what do you call a sacrifice? How do you find language appropriate to describe a sort of considerable emotional, irreparable loss? And when it refuses to make sense, it seems to be confessing that the impossibility of that type of articulation.
That's so well put. So, anybody want to add to that? Loss shouldn't be described descriptively. Because when you do, what do you miss? What do you lose? What's inappropriate?
You lose, I guess, the struggle of it. The articulation is painful.
The power, the pain, and also its accidental quality. You lose the accidental quality. So what Stein does here is she introduces or reintroduces the accident, the accidental quality of the language. To write straightforwardly about such an accident is essentially to create a contradiction, a form-content contradiction. Allie, what do you think of this?
Well, also you lose
were you to not do that, you would lose the form of the loss in some way. I think that in addition to kind of enacting the accidental quality, it also, the form of this kind of reflects, maybe your mental state when, something like this happens.
The language reflects your mental state, which is that your head is spinning, that you're thinking of all kinds of things at once. There is a way in which what's said in this last sentence does make sense. Anybody want to try to make some sense of it? Kristen?
Okay, so the people who did go got into an accident, the sacrifice, and then she lists a sheep, a hen, a cock, a village, a ruin.
What's going on there? Does that describe anything?
I think a village, a ruin does describe something. It's kind of like this accident really shakes up the community.
Let's try to imagine a French countryside at night in the 20s.
So it's possible that the car wreck would have killed a sheep, a hen,
Maybe
a
that
cock.
the sheep caused the car accident.
It's
Didn't
very
see
possible.
that sheep. And the car spins round, and what is perceived from the accident, we've all been there, unfortunately, so many of us have been there. I certainly have been there. Things go round, your world goes round, you see a sheep, a cock, a hen, a village, a ruin, and all that. The whole world flashes before your eyes. Can I say it that way? This is an accident. And then, help us with the end. That having been blessed, let us bless it.
So it's very prayerful, I would say. And then that having been blessed, let us bless it. Maybe I can have Molly help me.
Molly, you want to help? It's kind of a benediction.
Yeah, well, she says, and all that, and then that having been blessed, I feel like the all that is referring to this fractured image of a sheep, a hen, a cock, a village. And that's all already been blessed.
Let's talk about this as an elegy. What's an elegy?
A celebration of someone's...
Well, first, the mourning of someone, a loss. In the end, the elegy turns back toward life. So first you mourn, oh, he's gone, I miss him. Second, this is what he did in life, fantastic. And third, here's how we will go on and be better. That's the traditional elegy. Does this resemble that at all?
I think...
The third part is certainly there.
Yeah, in a way it does. But I think what's really interesting is that in this list of items, a sheep, a hen, a cock, a village, a ruin, it skips, because it says many others did go, and there is a sacrifice of what shall we? And then it lists a bunch of things, but it skips the kind of central thing that's missing and goes right ahead to, it kind of skips the crucial stage.
Let us describe is the name. It's almost an Amoris-ish, it's a programmatic title. Let us describe. This is how we shall describe the loss. We shall not describe the loss as, we will not narrativize it. We will not make a beginning, middle, and end of it. We will not create a cause and effect because it was an accident. They didn't deserve to die, but they did. Let us describe. What does she mean? What kind of description does she mean then? Why let us describe? Anne-Maurice?
I think it's an ironic title given the content of the poem. And it I think the tone of it, rather than sudden, seems very deliberate. And the ending, there seems to be a sort of acceptance and resignation with the impossibility of this articulation. So
she moves from let us describe to let us bless. Same wording. I think I disagree with you about its being an ironic title, though. Anybody want to go with that?
Well, it is a description and it's not a definition. She's attributing qualities to this thing, but she's refusing to name it, right? What Ali pointed out is the absence there, a sacrifice of what shall we, you want to finish that with of what shall we call it, and